put their own lives at risk and on the line to defend our homeland.
I want to bring in now Democratic Congressman James Waukesha of Virginia, who joins us this morning. Nice to have you with us. When we look at where things stand in terms of this funding, the fact that it was passed for 3 years, this essentially shields the agencies from the appropriations process. So what oversight will Congress have over the course of these next 3 years?
Well, look, I'm certainly hopeful that there'll be a change in control of Congress in January, which would allow us to conduct robust oversight in the form of hearings, subpoenas when necessary, depositions when necessary. But currently, this Republican Congress is quite consistent that they're not going to provide real oversight of the reckless, out of control mass deportation agenda that we have seen. So I don't know that there will be much oversight for the remainder of this year, but I'm hopeful that in January 2027, we can get some oversight and bring this under control.
Among the list of demands that Democrats had, we had, of course, limits on face coverings, body camera requirements, clearer use of force standards, which led to the record shutdown. Really, none of these demands made it into the final bill. Was it worth it?
Well, look, what Democrats said is federal law enforcement, ICE, CBP should operate similarly to our local and state law enforcement, right? Have the same expectations of professionalism that we have of our local police. Republicans, led primarily by one man, Stephen Miller, in the White House, said no way, no how. So from my perspective, it's always worth it to fight to protect the safety of the American people who were being terrorized by their own government, by masked agents surging into communities. I think that fight is always worth it. We're going to continue that fight. We're going to have to take it to the ballot box in November. I think the mood and the polling across the country is quite clear that American people, even those who might have supported the idea of stronger immigration enforcement that Donald Trump ran on, are looking at what they're seeing and saying, this ain't what I voted for. I didn't want to see kids with cancer deported. I don't want to see pregnant women dragged through the street. I don't want to see American citizens shot dead and killed. The American people know this is out of control. Democrats are going to keep fighting to bring it under control.
Let's talk Epstein, if we could. Bill Gates, of course, on Capitol Hill. You sat in that hearing yesterday, listened to his testimony. Representative Burchett afterwards came out and told the cameras that he had, in his view, very good coaching, that he had paid for very good coaching, is what he said about Bill Gates. Did you find Bill Gates credible?
I did find Bill Gates credible. Everything he said was consistent with what's in the files or in the public record. Look, it is an egregious error in judgment. It's the most charitable way to describe Bill Gates deciding to engage, meet with Jeffrey Epstein, even after he knew of Epstein's 2008 guilty plea conviction for a sex crime. Gates acknowledged that yesterday. He said that was a terrible, terrible mistake, and it certainly was.
When we look at where things stand, Congressman Burchett also calling for transparency, as you know. James Comer, the House Oversight Chair, there has been some back and forth on what should be public, but he also talked about who he wanted to call in next. I just want to play that.
I would like for Todd Blanche to come in July. Come in. Now, let me be very clear. Todd Blanche came in a month ago. He came in with Pam Bondi to answer questions from the Oversight Committee, and the Democrats stormed out. What a missed opportunity for the Democrats. But Todd Blanche answered questions that Republicans had for several hours.
I'm curious to both your response to that and also what you feel you would get from Todd Blanche.
In an effort to help Pam Bondi avoid having to come in and speak under oath and answer questions under oath, Chairman Comer tried to set up a secret closed-door briefing with Bondi and Todd Blanche. That briefing would have had no or has no transcript. The media, the public would never know. In fact, he just described it. Do you have any idea what they discussed in that meeting? What questions were asked? You don't. It's part of the cover-up. And Democrats said, look, we're not going to participate in secret behind closed doors briefings as part of this cover up. We want Pam Bondi under oath in front of camera so the American people can judge it. And we want Todd Blanche under oath in front of cameras and let the American people, not the oversight committee members, decide whether they think he's telling the truth or not about this massive cover up that the Trump administration has been engaged in around the Epstein files.
We will see if that happens. Certainly a lot of interest and a lot of questions. Congressman Walkinshaw, I appreciate you taking the time this morning. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.